Happy Friday. Happy Friday, beloved. I don't know what time of day it is, and wherever you are, somebody say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. I'm here in Central Florida, and it is approximately 6 o'clock in the PM, and it's still sunshining outside because Florida doesn't know how to do anything but be hot and sunshiny. But yay! But today I normally come on a Saturday morning, but our guest today needed us to do something a little different, and that's okay. We can do that. So we're here tonight with the Momentum Virtual Writers Room, and I have a special guest here today to chat with us, Miss Nicola. We call her Nikki Thomson De Lorme. Hey, girl.
Hi.
Welcome to Friday.
Thank you. How's your Friday been?
So, what I would like and love for you to do is to chat a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay. All right. So my name is Nikki, and I have been in the marketing industry for the last 14 plus years, specifically with regards to consumer product packaged goods. Besides that, I'm a mom of two. I'm a wife. Um, I have another side business as well with my husband, and um, most recently added to my resume, an author, which is extremely exciting for me speaking with you today about that journey.
Oh, okay. So are you gonna play shy today? Like, this is what I do, this is it.
I thought the feed cut out.
No. We're listening and would love for you. What I want you to do, because the subject matter of your book is so specific, it's the idea about being naked with your truth, right?
Okay.
And many authors are very nervous about writing their truth.
Yes.
I've been doing this now for about 10 years. And so many of the newbie authors, or the new ones I get, especially with their freshman book, is they're shy about sharing their their real story. They kind of want to gloss over some things that happened, or how they felt about some things, or what they experienced. And one of the things that I admired so much about you is that you said, I'm going to put it on Front Street, right? And so what, and even especially I enjoyed doing your cover because it was so easy to do, because you gave me the model. You
Yeah.
were the model, right?
Yeah.
And you said, hey, here I am, naked and not ashamed.
Yes. Exactly.
Right. So I want you to really share with those that are, whether they're watching now live or whether they're catching on a replay, how it is to be confident enough in yourself to own your story and not be ashamed to tell it.
Um. Okay. So let me start from the beginning, and that might give a bit of context.
Okay.
So this journey to me becoming an author and telling my story in the way that I did started about 10 years ago. And I'm only 40 years old. So um, within that time, I have been through a number of different extremely difficult life situations. And, every time I would get punched, I would ask God, like, why? Like, how much more can I take? And as I thought I was getting over one thing, something else would come. And I'm like, dude, come on now. Like, give me a break. And it's really just been a bit of a challenge at times to find the strength to keep going. And before I became a mother of two, I have a 15-year-old and an almost 2-year old. My older son was my reason for living, period. So I knew that regardless of what I was going through within that space of time, that I needed to be here for him.
Yes.
And having had the types of experiences I've had, and having shared many of the experiences I've had with a number of different friends of mine, family, they're like, how are you still living? How are you still standing? How are you still smiling? How are you,
Yes.
you know, speak so positively about God, about life, about, you know, and just have this positive outlook? And the only answer I have is, but God.
But God.
The only thing that I have is but God, because I feel as if had I had a different perspective on God and spirituality and religion and just my own journey in life, I might not have gotten through the things that I have experienced in the way that I have, um, in my short space of time here on earth thus far,
Yes.
with such, um, grace and, I guess, humility and understanding that it's not happening to me, it's happening for me.
Wow. Yes.
And, you know, coming to the realization that um, I wanted to share my story with the world was really a form of therapy for me, because I had had all of these different feelings that I somehow suffocated
Mm-hmm.
in the process of healing, that I never really allowed myself to heal. So I had to seek therapy. And, coming from Trinidad and the Caribbean, you know, seeking therapy is oftentimes taboo and it's for crazy people. But I certainly believe that every human on the face of this planet has experienced some degree of trauma
Yes.
that requires them to seek professional help. That's why they're there. And in firstly identifying that taboo stature or status, um, I was then able to say, but there's nothing wrong with saying I'm not okay. And there's also nothing wrong with saying I need help. Please help me. And um, seeking out the correct people to do so. Because what I found in my journey is that sometimes I would share with my friends and they're like, oh, you're okay, you're fine. And then I'm shut down and I don't want to go on beyond that
Wow.
very surface level, superficial feeling of what it is I'm actually experiencing, because they automatically put me in a mindset of, I can't relate to you, so I'm not going to understand you, and I
Wow.
can't help you. So this has been um, a metaphorical soul tugging on me, where I felt as if my experiences in life could certainly help those who may be struggling, who may become, in a situation down the road where they need to relate to someone who has been there, who has done this, and
Mm-hmm.
who's come out of it on top. And my initial plan for my book was just just write, just
Okay.
tell everything. And then I realized that that's not what I wanted to do, because I could do that in a journal and keep that for me.
Yes. Yes.
But then if I did it in that way, why would anyone be interested in hearing what happened to me? What's
Okay.
more interesting is, how did I overcome these challenges, and what tools did I use to get through? And also, how is it applicable to whomsoever might be reading my story? And when I changed that mindset, it clicked like, oh,
Mm.
this is something that, a lot of people and women who, we carry so much shame in a lot of different ways. And we've been told we have to be strong and, don't cry, and no, you'll get over it. And it's a weight that we don't have to carry alone. We
Yeah.
don't have to feel as if we have to be this strong, independent, you know, I want to say hyper independent, and as a matter of fact, because um, along the way, I felt like the messaging that I've received in my life has been incorrect, because those tools didn't serve me.
Okay.
It worked against me. it didn't help me figure out, oh, well, I'm having a rough day. How do I navigate this rough day? I would just shut down or I would become snappy. And I didn't like who I had become.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
so I feel and I felt as if in order for me to really help people, I needed to delve a bit more deeply inside and say, what is it I'm experiencing? Why am I experiencing this? And to what extent am I going to allow this to affect me at this moment? And then how can my experience help someone else? Because whenever I had shared, like I said, my own story with others, they were like, what? Normally I'm this happy go lucky, smiley person, and I don't take on too much, or so it seemed.
Mm-hmm.
But I carry a lot of weight and a lot of heaviness that for many years had not been addressed within myself. So, like I said, the writing of the book was very therapeutic for me, and triggering, most
Mm-hmm.
definitely, because in order for me to put the message in the correct format, I had to I had to heal first. I had to identify what is it that was the issue. Why do we have this issue? What are we going to do about it? And are we going to be stuck in this space, or are we going to move forward from this place? And that was the angle that I used in writing the book, rather than just writing everything, which
We've got a lot of comments coming in in response to what you're saying, and a lot of amens and yeses. But then also two notes that are very clear is one says it's okay to not be okay, and that the victory is for everyone.
yes.
And I think that's what a testimony actually is. A testimony is when you tell of the but God. But everybody wants to stop with, I was having this problem, this happened to me, that happened to me, this was bad. And they never get to, but what God did.
Hmm.
So, but God means God is getting ready to do something, or God did something that overturned all of that on the other side and
100,
brought us through.
you've just said that, and I got goosebumps all down my body. And you speak about God, and you know I wouldn't say that I'm the most religious, but I'm definitely spiritual.
Okay.
And I definitely believe in a higher power, the universe, creation, source, God, whatever you want to term it. And I know that there is absolutely nothing in this world that I have been through and that I'm going to go through, because life continues. We're still breathing air. So he's not done with us yet.
Yes.
And I know that there is nothing that is going to come my way that I'm not going to be able to face without tapping into my faith. And my faith has grown. And to be quite honest, it's as a result of some of these experiences that I've had that were the catalyst for my spiritual journey to actually begin. And actually, because I was raised in the Catholic Church, but I never really was too into it. I was just like, okay, you got to go to church on Sunday. I don't want to go to church on Sunday, Mom, but
Yeah.
I was made to, you know. And then as I became in my later teens, I started to rebel against what I was forced to do, to find
Yes.
my own place. Now I'm rebellious in nature of myself, much to my parents' dismay, but they'll get over it. I'm my own person. I'm grown. I'm an adult, and sometimes I even in my darkest moments,
Mhm.
I thank God for everything. And that attitude of gratitude, I know that He is going to bless me in whatever way is necessary. Sometimes it may seem like, come on, God, time is ticking, you take, but He never said the weapon wouldn't form. He said it wouldn't prosper.
He just said it wouldn't prosper. Come on now.
It wouldn't prosper. And if you believe that, and you truly believe that with your whole spirit, your whole soul, your whole being,
Mm-hmm.
then why are we worrying? Why are we walking around with sad faces? Why are we walking around oh my God, what am I going to do? And what's this going to happen to me? And what's going to happen to my children? And am I going to pay rent, or am I going to pay my mortgage? Am I going to get a job? He
Preach.
he provides, and we just
Preach.
have to ask. All we need to do is ask. And this is not, a sermon by any means.
No, but preach, sis.
But at the end of the day, God has been at the forefront of my existence and will continue to be, because at the end of the day, sometimes when things are going well, we forget God.
Mm-hmm.
Conveniently, it's only when we're having a moment of struggle or a moment of tension or a moment of challenge that we're like, oh God, help me. But God is everywhere. God is
Yes.
within us. And we don't need to go to a physical church. If you wish to do that, that's, by all means do that. But you can seek God at any moment in time. You see a rainbow, you say, thank God. You get home safely, thank God. You wake up on a morning, thank God. Your children return home from school, thank God.
I'm
They
thankful
go
for
early.
this moment right now with you.
Sorry?
I'm very thankful for this moment right now with you.
Thank you. I am as well. And being able to have that moment of clarity in your life. For me, it happened when I was maybe 19 years old. So that's 21 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it really changed the course of my life and really got me, okay, Nicola, now you need to get yourself together. Like we can't be playing around now. Get your things together, do what you got to do, and stay focused and keep grinding, because there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And it's been a beautiful, beautiful journey. And now I can look back at all of the experiences that I've had and speak to them and say, wow.
Yeah.
I shed tears just in my quiet moments of, you did this, girl, you did this.
Did
you know
this.
I know that, like I said, there's nothing that is going to come, because challenges are going to come, that I'm not going to be able to face. you know I I kind of preempt in my mind the things that may happen. So I know that this is a morbid topic. So the passing of one's parents is a very morbid topic. I've been through the death of a loved one, the person that was the love of my life at the time. And, that love for that person and love for my parents is two different things, but at least I have a foundation from which I can say, I've been through something similar, so I can survive that.
You've
Because
been through something similar and survived.
correct.
So
And
because I've been through
right.
something similar and
And
survived, I can again. Yeah.
precisely.
Yeah.
Whereas someone who has not,
Yeah.
they may fall into a deep, deep depression, or they may be on antidepressants, or they may be on anxiety medication, anything of the sort. I've never been on medication my whole life. I self-medicated with, but that was just for me to be able to move through what I was experiencing, because otherwise I didn't know what to do, and I didn't have the resources available to me, and those that were closest to me couldn't understand nor relate in any way, shape, or form as to what I needed. And sometimes, like, the very off and what I would term out of timing comments would come. Oh, but he's dead already so long. Why don't get over that? And I'm like, are you kidding me? And I actually had a conversation with my ex's mother recently, and we were just chatting and sharing memories. And I had shared with her a memory of when my ex had passed about a week later, literally 2 days after 2 months after the funeral. And a coworker of mine had asked me if I was dating anyone, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, it's not even been a year. It's not even been 2 years, nothing. And her comment to me was so long he dead? go out there and find yourself a new man. And I was like, what is I? And I had to take
Wow.
everything inside of me to not fly over my desk and jump, kick her in her throat.
I know. I can't even imagine. I know someone that was very, very close to me who is near and dear to me, grew up with. She lost her husband to he committed suicide. He unalived himself. And one of her best friends said to her, "Well, you're single now. When are you going to start dating again?" And I mean, this was within weeks.
Wow.
And she's still trying to grab hold and grasp what has just happened, this loss in her life. And you're already talking about moving on to the next thing. I think what is really important that we understand, whether you're self-medicating, whether you're medicating by under doctor's prescription, whether you are, for me, this month is the anniversary of the loss of my firstborn son. And I didn't do any of that, but I feel every bit of it, every bit of that loss, right?
Absolutely.
No matter what you have to do to get through, the reality is that it's a process. You don't move from here to here in one fell swoop. Whereas one of my friends say, get airlifted, with stilettos on from one point to the next. However you get through it, just know that God is with you in the valley. He's with you in the darkness. He's with you.
He's right there. Right.
He's always with you. He promised that he would never leave us or abandon us at our worst possible moment, which is what forsaking means. The more that we need him, the more he's actually going to be present. And so if I can label this whole thing with you, I didn't plan for it, but it would be literally, but God, and I can see that that's the message he wants us to get across to whoever's watching, whatever you're dealing with right now, whatever your truth is, whether you're the villain or you're the heroine, it doesn't matter. The reality is that God is right there with you. Even if you're the one doing the dirt, he's there to help you heal from whatever is causing you to do that, so that you can go on and live the life he called you to. If you are the one being victimized and harmed, he's still able to heal and restore.
Precisely.
So I understand the why behind why you needed the words to be written. What I want you to help us understand was, why now?
Well, it was a gift to myself when I was turning 40. And I remember when you and I were discussing the timeline to have everything completed. I was turning 40 on February 1st. And I said, this is a timeline I wanted to be done by then. And we were pushing and we were working together to make this happen. And I just wanted to start this new chapter of my life.
Okay.
As a new person, not carrying the baggage of what had happened before. And just with a weight lifted, because I had carried this inside. I didn't even, when I was writing the book, I never even told my parents,
Okay.
who are extremely close to me, that I was writing the book. I sent them a copy and they were like, we didn't even know you were writing a book or that you would even publish a book. And I did it purposely that way because I didn't want any naysayers to come and say, oh, don't do that. No, you can't. And that's that. Don't go and say this and say that, And the book is not about airing my dirty laundry. It's about taking that dirty laundry and crafting it in a way that allows for learning and healing for other people and for me. And I kid you not, when you had sent me the final draft of everything, I cried and I cried and I cried. And I said, you did it. Like, you did it. And I was so proud of myself. And like I said, it's been 10 years in the making. And
Mhm.
10 years ago, had I really embarked and actually published a book then, I would probably be in tears right now because I would not have healed.
Yes.
I would
Yes.
have had I want to say the balancing positive experiences. So all the negative that happened prior to has now been balanced with beautiful experiences that I can say, you can have this too. You know, you might be going through something that you're like, why me? Why now? I can't do this. But if you just continue to have that faith, continue to believe in yourself, continue to stay focused and keep going, there is a light at the end of your tunnel, whatever that tunnel looks like. And
Yes.
you know, sometimes people give up halfway in between the tunnel, not realizing if they give up they have to start from scratch. But if you keep going, you're eventually going to come out at the end.
I've seen some people, because I get to write, I get to work with a lot of writers at a lot of different places in their life, right? And what I find is that some of them don't have to start over, but they get stuck in the tunnel. They're just stuck.
They're like
They're
this.
doing like this.
Yep.
And they don't know which end is up and which way to
Yep.
go, and they're just going in circles right there in that tunnel. And sometimes you'll need somebody who can help you see the light.
Yeah.
One When I was dealing with my situation, one of the things that happened was my sister, my birth sister, actually said, she said, the reason you can't see is because this big tree is in front of you. Guess what? Move. She said, just move. And
Yep.
and it was seemed so simple,
Yep.
but I kept going, I can't see anything. There's nothing in front of me. There's nothing going to, And she was like, you can't see because it's a tree in front of you.
Yep.
Just move over. Just move over.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you can see all this greenery and life and light and whatnot. Just get around the tree. Get out of the tunnel.
I liken it to walking down a corridor, a slim corridor, and then the obstacle that comes in the form of a chair.
Okay.
Are you going to say, well, I can't pass because the chair is as wide as the corridor? Or am I going to climb over the chair? Or am I going to squeeze past? Or push the chair up and go underneath?
Yes.
You got to figure it out. Because if you just stay there, then the chair is going to be having that control over you. And you will never be able to move beyond. But when you move the chair to the side, then you can, kind of do that. And when you pass the chair, you're like, oh, that wasn't that difficult. It wasn't that difficult. And then you can reconfigure your brain to know that any chair that comes, I have options.
Yes.
I have options. I can again go over the chair, I can move it to the side, I can go underneath, or I can walk beside it. Either way, we're continuing going down the
Yes.
corridor.
Yes. Yes.
So it just gives a bit of perspective in how we manage challenging situations rather than getting stuck and say, oh, woe is me. Everyone on the planet has and will be and is going through something right now.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's not about dwelling on the what's happening now. It's how do we navigate from this point forward, because forward is where there's beauty. I like to call it collateral beauty in everything. And people have to recognize when that point of being stuck comes and say, you're not going to make me stay here. I'm moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And once you can do that, then the world is your oyster. You can do absolutely anything.
You said there is collateral beauty in everything. And I believe that. I believe that even in the worst of times, if we just take a breath and look, we'll see the beauty, and we can go towards that. Maybe that's our light, whatever that may look like.
Yeah.
So tell the people where they can find your book.
My book, The Naked Truth, is available on all Amazon platforms. So the US, Canada, UK,
Mm.
Australia, Japan, New Zealand, even you name it, it's there. It's both in audio and sorry, not audio. It's in the Kindle format and also the printed format.
Yep, and paperback and
Yes.
ebook.
Yes.
Yes. So what are you getting ready to do now? What is your next project?
Well, I'm actually focusing on more speaking engagements. Thus
Mhm.
far, I've had 3 of them. I've spoken at 2 high schools here in Canada for children who I want to say had were troublesome kids
Okay.
who, they needed some kind of mentorship, and the resources that they had available um, weren't getting through. I guess maybe because of the age difference,
Okay.
maybe because of the manner in which they spoke to the said parties, they just couldn't reach the students. And so I've had 2 speaking engagements, and then I did a virtual retreat, a spiritual retreat. So that's where my focus is right now. Um, because I think, like I said, there are a lot of people who are suffering in silence, and there's no need to do that.
Amen.
There is somebody that can help you. And if you find that person, and that person also needs to be willing to help, because there are lots of people who, I don't have time for that, and they shun people who are now in the same position that they once were, but they're not able to be compassionate or empathetic or even caring enough to say, give me your hand, let me help you through this. And sometimes it might take a little longer than you know you would prefer, but
Okay.
there is a blessing that's going to come in that, because again, God is looking and seeing everything that you're doing. And if
Yeah.
someone is reaching out and saying, hey, help me, and you shun them, you have to pay for
And
that.
sometimes they're not going to say, help me. The words themselves, they may not have those words, but you'll pick up
Energies that
yeah, you'll pick that vibe up. You'll pick that, yeah, something is going on. They'll
yes,
just start talking.
or it could just be in their eyes,
Yes, ma'am.
it
Yes,
could be
ma'am.
in what I like to say. It's not what I say, it's what I'm not saying is
That
what you pay
and
attention.
you even in your silence, even in your
Correct.
silence.
And the silence is more powerful than speech
Yeah.
in any way. And sometimes people think that it's the opposite, when it's not, because people will suffer in silence just because of shame, regret for whatever situation they've encountered. It could be, losing money. They could have lost their job. They could have lost a baby. They could be trying to have a baby. They could be they could have be going through a breakup. They could be, I don't know, a death in the family, anything. They could have been served eviction notices or whatever it might be. And they're so ashamed that they're not like, please help, because we've been so
Yeah.
tuned to thinking that everything is supposed to be all perfect. And in this age of social media, now I'm 40 years old, but I think that social media gives this false pretense of life. And no one
It does.
is really putting out there the good, the bad, and the
The real.
ugly. They just put out what they want you to see and what perception they want you to have of them, because they don't want to be seen as problematic. They don't want to be seen as, oh, I have an issue. They don't want to be seen as, oh, I just had a boyfriend 6 months ago and now I'm single again. Like, it's okay. If you're in a relationship, is that supposed to last 200 years? Like, no, it's okay if it ends, if it's not working for you,
Yeah.
and we can move on.
Yeah.
Or you're afraid to be labeled. And I understand that from a woman's perspective. You jump from person to person to person. But if that person was being abusive mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, why would you choose to stay in that? For what?
Right.
The sake of an image?
Right.
No, you're worth more than that. And who is to judge you? Your neighbor, your friend, your aunt, your uncle, your mother? They're not living your life.
Right.
So I would just like to encourage everyone to live their truth authentically as you can.
Hmm.
Live your naked truth, whatever that looks like to you.
Yeah.
Live unapologetically about it. If you are a cuss bud like I am, I haven't quit. Be that. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. Once you
You
know,
know what I wish? I wish, and I can't, if wishes were whatever,
right.
but I'm 60. So I wish at 40 I had grabbed hold of that and been able to, I knew my truth, but too concerned with trying to please other people and their perceptions and making them feel comfortable, right? So now I'm living out my later years going, nah, I'm not doing that. I don't have time for that no more.
Yeah, and I think that the earlier that, now let me just draw a reference here. So
Yeah.
school in whatever format it takes, elementary, middle school, high school, tertiary education, they're not going to teach you these life lessons.
No.
Nothing that is taught in those forums is going to be for life.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
need to understand that. Yes, it's going to give you a basis of understanding of certain topics,
Right.
prepare you to be a doctor or this or that or whatever, who cares? But life lessons you learn from
You learn from
life.
life. You learn from life.
And you got to be able to pick up the cues that life is telling you. Hey,
Yeah.
sis. Hey,
Yeah.
bro.
Yes.
You got to shift this way of thinking because what you're doing here is not working for you. And there's this, this term now, this I like to call it this buzzword, but it's not really a buzzword. It's real life. This buzzword of, toxicity and everything is toxic.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
We're all toxic to some
It's
degree.
been that way from the beginning of time.
We're all toxic. But if we can strive to be the best versions of ourselves, to and for ourselves, and then to each other,
Yes.
this world would be a beautiful, beautiful place.
Yes.
But
Yes.
we want to conform and fit into these spaces that we don't fit. Why not? Why not chart your own course? Figure out what works for you. Now, I'm going to raise my arms. And the reason I'm going to raise my arms is I'm 40 years old. The first tattoo I got, I was 17.
Okay.
I have 15 tattoos.
Woo.
My parents were like, oh my gosh, my mother in particular. Now, so I have,
Hmm. Hmm.
and they're all
You
over.
working on a sleeve?
No, I would never do a sleeve, but
Okay.
they're put in particular places so that, I mean, I'm
Can't
dressed.
be seen.
You
Yes.
can't see, but if I were to put on a bathing suit and go to the beach, you're like, say
Yeah.
what? You have all those? And I don't care if you look at me in a certain kind of way because I'm being me. At the end of my life, I need to know that I lived fully.
I
I
love it.
don't want to have any regrets when I'm, God forbid, in a wheelchair on my deathbed. Oh, I shoulda, woulda, coulda. Nope, nope, nope. My life is for me. And if today or tomorrow God says, hey, your number's called, time to go, I need to be at peace with everything that
I
I
love
have done. Everything.
That's a good word. I received that word for myself. Thank you for sharing that with
You're
us.
welcome. But I learned that very early on because this trying to conform to society's uh, expectations or even people's expectations. Why? That's not their life. And my thing is, my new line is, let's say I wanted to do something and someone that I'm sharing with is in disagreement with what I want to do.
Okay.
My response is, well, if you don't want to do it for you, you don't do it. I'm going to do this for me. How is that affecting you?
Yes.
How? Are
Yeah.
you going to be ashamed of me? Okay. Are you going to cut me off and not speak to me again?
Mhm.
Okay. Do you think that I'm going to have some kind of negative response or reaction to your view of me when I know me and the things that I want to do for me? Nope. Because I am, and it took a long time to get to this place, a long, long time. I am so confident in who and what I am and my purpose in this world that there is nothing and nobody that can sway. I will take recommendations.
Sure.
I will take things into consideration. I'm not a complete, but I'm not going to take it and just take it wholesale and just adopt it because you've said so.
Right, right.
Absolutely not. Because if I don't know me and I'm just taking from Desiree and I'm taking from John and I'm taking from Mary and I'm taking from Susie, then who am I?
You become a Frankenstein, just pieces and parts of all these different people.
And then I don't know which tone of thinking to move with. I need to think.
One of the people here wrote, thank you for your authenticity.
Oh, you're most welcome.
So that's basically what you're just saying. You know, you get to be authentic because you're moving from that which is within yourself and expressing it into the world. Well, all right. I'm going to just let you get your Friday night back. You done poured in.
I gotta go back
poured out.
My 2 kids, and I can hear them in the background. Oh my God.
Yes.
So what's happening there?
Yeah. So, but thank you for taking the time to spend some time this evening with me, and with those who will get a chance to listen to your words of wisdom.
Thank you very much.
And I look forward to talking to you again in social media and prayerfully sometime down the road.
Yes, of course.
I love you, sis.
Love you too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.